And before we get into it, we've just had this breaking news that Mary Earps has retired from international football with immediate effect. She will not be representing England at the Euros this summer. She said, I've spent a long time making this decision and it's not one that I've made lightly. For me, ultimately, this is the right time to step aside and give the younger generation an opportunity to thrive. Winning the Euros in 2022 was the best day of my life and I'm rooting for the girls to do it again this summer. Serena Wiegmann added to this statement, I'd hoped that Mary would play an important role within the squad this summer. So of course I'm disappointed. Mary has been clear in her reasons why she's made the decision. And it's something that we need to accept. Mary Earps not being part of the Lionesses squad is huge. Mary Earps represent what the Lionesses are and what they've achieved so far in what feels like a short journey since the Women's Euros. Mary Earps was the pillar. She was the pillar, she was the post. Even though she wasn't the captain, she brought such a leadership, such a presence to that back line, to that goalkeeper position. That woman will do whatever she wants. She'll take on Nike, whatever the heck you want to call them, and she'll win. She'll make sure that shirts, goalkeeper shirts with Earps on the back are there to be bought. Not only that, she's just a huge credit to what she's done for her clubs and for her country, for what she did at Manchester United, but for what she did during the Euros, for what she achieved during the World Cup and getting to the final. And the personality that she showed as well, the character. I cannot believe this news. And Sports Personality of the Year. Oh, Mary Earps, you're not just a wicked goalkeeper and a big character, but you're a household name. And I hope retirement from international football is good to you.
Just a masterclass in how to play when you're an underdog. She put Claudia Pina on her backside after about 7 minutes.
It's another movement, I think, for women's football in this country.
You look at that parade or trophy lift that Arsenal got yesterday, and it's you want to play there.
How'd you get battered 5-3 off Aston Villa in the league, and then a few weeks later pop along to Lisbon and win the Champions League against the champs? Who do you think's had a better season kit? Chelsea, domestic treble, or Arsenal Champions League?
It's funny, it's a bit like...
Is it funny? Well, it is. From the day that Renie took control, there was a different version of her available.
Every single shop I went into, where's the women's football section? But what we just want to have is them to feel recognised and included and actually go into a shop and look for a women's football section. Football's like the biggest sport, or one of the biggest sports, but in running, in gym, there's so much innovation that's been happening that it just hasn't translated into football. If I didn't have a daughter, I wouldn't be sitting here with you.
Cheers, daughter. Hello, how are you? And welcome back to the Kickback. My name's Shebahn Aherne. The evil twin sister Russia is away on international duty with games against Turkey and Slovenia. We'll keep you posted on that. But coming up for you on today's show, I'm joined by women's football reporter for The Times. Shepard is with us to review that Champions League final and look ahead to England's next games against Portugal and Spain as we get closer to the Euros. Plus, a dad on a mission, Connor Stanbridge, founder of FootballHer, is here to talk about his designing kit specifically for women and girls. Big show on the way. Stay tuned for that and lots more on the way. Don't forget to like, subscribe, get in the comments, subscribe to the Kickback channel, and don't be a nasty piece of work. Speaking of which, Kit Shepard is with us. Like the nicest guy ever. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm sadly not on international duty.
You're definitely not on international duty. Rue has left us again. She flies the nest like once every other day now.
Yeah.
I'm like, she's gone again. She's gone.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's a good thing because there'll be less dumps in this show. There'll be less editing for our producer to look after because you're here.
Can't promise anything. We'll try our best.
Let it loose, Kit. Give him a shot. Mate, so much to review over the last 4 days have just been phenomenal. Phenomenal. I mean, let's start with the Arsenal Champions League win.
You can't overstate how big a shock it is, in my opinion. I think we were all going out to Lisbon. Obviously, we knew Arsenal could win. It's a one-off game, final, all those kind of cliches. But we'd all watched what Barcelona did to Chelsea in the semi-finals, and Chelsea, as we've seen this season, are a better team than Arsenal. So the rationale was, well, if they can do that to Chelsea, what the heck are they going to do to Arsenal? But full credit to them, the game plan was spot on. Stine Blackstenius took the chance when it came, and just a fantastic, wonderful story.
Yeah, I mean, the goal disallowed in the first half due to being offside, which it was fair, absolutely fine. But when that happened, I thought, I mean, in the week leading up to the game, Kit, not to say I told you so, but I had a real feeling this was going to happen. Because I think Arsenal seem to be better this season when they're playing against a team who should whip them. You know, so there's something about that pressure, there's something about whatever that does to that team that brings them together and brings out the best performances. Against teams where they're expected to be good, they've been kind of mince at times. Whereas even the walkout, there was something about this team where they even felt they knew they were going to do it. I mean, mentally, that's important.
They've played their best this season when they've had nothing to lose and when they're playing off emotion. We saw that in the comebacks against Real Madrid and Lyon, and you have that in the Champions League final where you're massive underdogs, and they really channeled that. It was fantastic. Equally, this wasn't like some wild, purely emotional, passionate display. It was very calculated. Again, the tactics were spot on, and Barcelona, they had chances in the final, but there wasn't a single opportunity for Barcelona where I was like, wow, Arsenal got really lucky that wasn't taken. It was just a masterclass in how to play when you're an underdog.
I mean, credit to them, because when you look at Barcelona's midfield, they're so slick. You know, they're smooth operators, they're Ballon d'Ors coming out their backsides. I mean, they are that good. And even though they were still magnificent to watch, they just couldn't break Arsenal down.
No, and they couldn't get their rhythm going either. And this is where I'm going to bring up Chloe Kelly's performance, because Chloe Kelly is a fantastic attacker, fantastic dribbler, scores a lot of important goals. But in that final, I felt her biggest asset was her bleephousery, shall we say. She was really physical with the Barcelona players. She put Claudia Pina on her backside after about 7 minutes, did the same to Putellas. And her last act before getting substituted was to just poleaxe Putellas, I suppose needlessly off the ball, but it wasn't needless because it was dark arts. It was a bit kind of, as I say, the word I can't repeat, but it was kind of what Arsenal needed to get under Barcelona's skin and disrupt that rhythm, which is usually so serene for the Spanish
Which
side.
is funny, because when Chloe Kelly was at Manchester City and was watching from the stands on the night that Man City beat Barcelona in matchday 1, we saw Putellas get frustrated in that game. So I feel they did channel it, everything so importantly. And I don't know about you, Kit, but I feel to have an element of that in your team is great. We see it from McCabe week in and week out. But I think having that aggression, that grit, winning your first tackle, setting a precedent. I mean, Caroline Graham-Hansen went flying early on in the game too. I thought that from both sides, I thought the backline in particular, they just set a precedent early on, which maybe ever so slightly rattled Barcelona.
Yeah, and I think when Barcelona played Chelsea in the semi-finals, they were on top from the beginning. Okay, in the first leg, it took a little while for them to take the lead, but they still missed a penalty. They were kind of all over Chelsea, whereas Arsenal, just from the beginning, it felt a little bit different. And I think that offside goal you mentioned was really important as well, because that could have kind of gone one or two ways. Either Arsenal could be like, oh, that's our big chance. We thought we'd gone ahead, and it's like a false dawn. But instead, they kind of took it as an encouraging near miss and just grew into the game even further from that point. So I think mentally, as well as all the tactics and physicality, Arsenal got spot on as well. They got everything spot on.
Yeah, I mean, it was magic. I still can't. I woke up on Sunday morning and I was like, Arsenal won the Champions League last night. You know, what? At the parade yesterday, looking at all of those fans turned out, I feel, Kit, you'll know this more as a journalist in terms of what you're writing, what the future looks like, but it's another movement, I think, for women's football in this country. Yeah,
and it's great for Arsenal. Like, okay, they're not as good as Chelsea as we've seen this season yet, but if you're a prospective signing, I don't know, that wants to come to WSL, that wants to come to top club, you look at that parade or trophy lift that Arsenal got yesterday, and it's you want to play there. You want to play for those fans. Obviously, money's important, playing time's important, but just the emotions that club stirs in the women's game kind of doesn't have a parallel, at least in England, and that can only be a good thing for them as they're looking to grow.
I mean, as we heard on a number of the commentators speaking about this on Saturday, the amount of players who were coming to Chelsea, that was to win the Champions League. I mean, for their nemesis across the city, to be able to do it after being a write-off at the start of the season, but to go on and win it. I mean, how'd you do that? How'd you get battered 5-3 off Aston Villa in the league, and then a few weeks later pop along to Lisbon and win the Champions League against the champs?
I think as soon as they beat Lyon on April 27th, I think it was. They had 4 weeks to prepare for Barcelona. Chelsea hadn't quite won the league at that stage, but it was all but guaranteed.
Yeah.
I think from that second leg in Lyon, Renee Slegers and Arsenal were thinking about Barcelona. I think that's why they got hammered by Villa, hammered by Brighton. I think it's why they had such a perfect game plan for Barcelona, because they've been thinking about it for a month.
I mean, it represents an incredibly successful season now. You know, who do you think's had a better season, Kit? Chelsea, domestic treble, or Arsenal Champions League?
It's funny. It's a bit like...
Is it funny?
Well, it's like in the men's where we've had, who's had a better season, Arsenal and Tottenham. You can make great cases for both. I think you can say Chelsea have had the best domestic season we've ever seen in men's or women's football. But having said that, and it sounds counterintuitive, again, when you see the celebrations at Arsenal yesterday and the emotions, it feels tough not to say them. It's the ultimate achievement, beating Barcelona in a Champions League final to win the biggest trophy at all. So to get off the fence, I'd say Arsenal, but I don't love it, but I'll go Arsenal.
Do you know, I'm kind of inclined to agree with you, Kit. I mean, based on success and winning trophies, Chelsea have won more trophies again this season than Arsenal, and have won another domestic treble, right? So Chelsea have had an incredibly successful season, but a lot of us know that the game plan and the ambition set out by Chelsea's team this season was to win the Champions League. Therefore, now that Arsenal have done it and have finished second in the league, okay, they didn't do well in terms of the cup competitions, but I'd say that also Arsenal have now had a better season than Chelsea.
Yeah, and it's a good point about what Chelsea's ambitions were, and they've been kind of admirably candid about.
I like it.
They're like, we're here, we want to win a quadruple, but we really want to win the Champions League. And when they lost to Barcelona, they were like, yeah, this is kind of... They didn't quite use the word failure, but they used basically every other synonym around that in analysing the season. It's like, our objective was to win in Europe, and we haven't done it. Whereas Arsenal, their objective at the start of the season was to win a trophy that's not the League Cup or the FA Cup. So I suppose they achieved their objective, yeah.
Check! No, I mean, I loved it. Yeah. And the amount of people who were there, who took in those scenes, the tears, I think the players as well, like, we've got a Euros coming up, and I've said before, I think England can win the Euros again. And I know there's a lot of doubt from the England fans, not all of them, but from a number of them. But I reckon the key to Arsenal's win was the big game experience that some of those players have. Not just the English girls, not just Leah Williamson and Russo and Wubben-Moy, I think, to come on when she came on and hold still and steady was great. Chloe Kelly and Alessia Russo and Beth Mead. It's not just about them. I'm talking about Steph Catley at the back, you know, captain of the Matildas there during the World Cup, just a couple of years gone. There's people like that. There's characters in that team who I think went into that game going, we know how to handle pressure. We know how to handle a rowdy crowd. You know, we've got this. And I think that's the most together I've seen that Arsenal team in a long time.
Yeah, a good point in the crowd, because Arsenal fans, for once, were actually outnumbered. They had a great following, but for Barcelona fans, that's like their annual pilgrimage, Champions League final. They get there every year. So it's like, oh, it's May, okay, we're going to the Champions League final again. So even the Arsenal fans were outnumbered. It kind of reinforced how big an underdog they were. But also a good point on the Euros. I mean, just to go with the Lionesses, a lot of them have now beaten some of Spain's best players twice in 3 months, having beaten Spain at Wembley and then beating Barcelona last weekend. And Spain are going to be the team to beat this summer, but Williamson, Russo, Kelly, there's now kind of a growing catalogue for them of times where, yeah, we have got one over this almost invincible Spanish lot.
It's quite something. Yeah. And obviously Mariona Caldente, that's her fourth now Champions League, our fourth successive final.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, she's a bit of a secret ingredient. I mean, we know that player of the season since she's come to the WSL, and she's magic to watch. But you'd be here. Everybody deserves a personal round of applause from that Arsenal performance, you know, at the weekend. I mean, everybody really did play their part.
Yeah, it was a full team effort. I think Williamson got player of the match, and absolutely fair enough. But it was hard to pick someone because so many went above and beyond. Everyone kind of just did their role. It wasn't as if kind of Mary Earps just
ran the show.
Just kind of plucked a moment of brilliance, maybe like she did in the semi-final against Lyon. It was just every player kind of sticking to their job and carrying out perfectly. I almost think Slegers should get player of the match, which obviously you can't do, but I just think it was set from her so brilliantly.
Yeah, I mean, have you met Renie yet? Have you had a chat? Like, what's the energy like there? Because watching her at parade yesterday, I mean, obviously there's the picture of her at Rosengard with a cigar, which is iconic. You know, but how did she get it so right, Kit? What is the vibe you get?
She's just very calm and poised, and that's kind of been a theme of Arsenal's season since she's taken over. She just feels like she's put smiles back on faces of people. She's created a very relaxed environment. She's a young female coach as well, which no one from Arsenal said explicitly that's helped, but I guess it would only be natural if it helps create a benefit, benefits the relationship. And then, but that's again not to belittle her tactical nous, which we saw yesterday. She's clearly a very, very smart coach. Although she's only 36, she started coaching, I think, when she was about 28, so she's not super inexperienced. And she's kind of got the whole package of soft skills and then that tactical nous as well.
I mean, I think back to Halloween trick-or-treating in St Albans with my kids. And there's Renie doing trick-or-treat with this little child in a buggy. And I'm like, I said to my sister that night, I saw Renie out trick-or-treating. And I just think she is balancing to try to win. Well, not actually try to win the Champions League. Obviously, she believed they could. But that and motherhood and a squad of players and just keeping it so cool. You're right, I need to get some of what she's having, man. I'm up the walls half the time. She's so cool.
Yeah. What's her chocolate of choice?
I don't know. I mean, I was like, take whatever you want, man.
Yeah.
Crack on.
Oh, clearly whatever she took.
You know, I do, and you kind of see her just going about her business. You think there's the woman who can manage and can tactically get it right. And obviously, I think as well, Kit, is one thing to point out, you know, when you look at the likes of Aaron Dantino, her assistant, there's so much communication between her and all of her staff around her. That's something I really enjoy to watch as well, because she probably knows more than anyone what it's like to be them. And if something's not going right, what do we do? Why was Jonas not speaking to them more often? Like, you know, that kind of stuff. It's really good communication from her.
Yeah, I think she's clearly an upgrade on Jonas because she won the Champions League. I think she was an assistant under Eidevall, and I'll be hesitant to say he was the absolute sole reason why everything was going wrong at the start of the season. Clearly it was a factor. But I think that was more kind of they'd given it a crack for 3 or 4 years and the relationship had run its course. I suppose what's the surprising element of it is Slegers was Eidevall's number 2 and therefore would seemingly be part of the old regime, but has been able to kind of maybe preserve whatever was good about the old regime and then adding her own bits as well. It's been fantastic.
Even personally, like, you know, the personal players who have personally come out there, even like Russo and stuff, felt like the day, not to make this about Jonas Eidevall, but, you know, from the day that Renie took control, there was a different version of her available. Yeah,
and she's clearly very good at dealing with people and making people feel relaxed. I think one little anecdote was I'm testing my memory here, but I believe she rearranged the furniture in her office so that she got like sofas brought in to kind of just make it a more relaxed environment when she's having one-to-one meetings, whether that's with staff and players. I think she's introduced staff football matches on a Friday afternoon as well. I think it's just little things like that have just made Arsenal a slightly more pleasant place to be, and it's kind of borne fruit in the most immense way. Yeah,
it really is. I mean, fair play to her, fair play to everybody involved at that club. I mean, yesterday getting to be at the parade, being at the kind of the friends and family gathering and watching the happiness of absolutely everybody, you know, there yesterday was so special, like such a special moment from everybody involved at that club. You know, tears, genuine like tears of we've done it from everyone, you know.
Yeah, and even Renee herself, who's always very composed, seems to have quite a croaky voice, and B was choking up a bit as well, which just underscored the scale of the achievement. But yeah, Monday was a fantastic day. Fantastic day.
It was, and if you missed it, you probably haven't if you're here watching this show. But here's just a little look at some of the chaos and some of the happiness that unfolded yesterday in North London.
Let's hear it for our champions of Europe, the
beyond everything I ever dreamt of. Like, this scenario never happened in my head, so it's incredible. I'm in disbelief. At the same time, I know it happened. I know we did it, but it's still really hard to grasp and capture what we actually did and what we achieved, because we are in the moment and we need to be in the moment to be at our best. So I think when we get some time off, it will sink in. I'm just so proud, because I know everything is connected to history and everything that the club have been doing for such a long time. The Trailblazers from 2007, they've been in the back of our heads all the time, but we also know that what we achieved, was it yesterday? It was yesterday, yeah. What we achieved yesterday is going to mean so much for the future as well, for women's football, for England, for the league, and for Arsenal in particular.
Yeah, to lead this team to a box out in Lisbon, and to take this team to another European championship match is just, it's special and one of the best moments of my career.
This victory of becoming Champions League winners, champions of Europe, I think is tributed to so many other women. The amount of messages I've had from players that have played with us through the last few seasons, years before this, 18 years in fact, they're all part of this too. And to think that we can get up on stage and celebrate it for them is a privilege, and it's something that I think we all hold very highly. And in particular, I think just attributing the win to the determination that we tried to encapsulate from those 2007 winners. They gave us a few tidbits, and I think we did them well. We executed them to a T.
So good to just relive all that moment again. Kat, what were your best moments best bits of watching that parade?
Oh, well, I mean, Katie McCabe was the star of the show, as you might accept, behaving in living up to the Irish stereotype in the absolute best way would be the way I'd put it. But I think just seeing so many people there was more people there. We think there was about 10,000. There was only about 7,000 in Trafalgar Square when England won Euro 2022. So that just, again, highlights the scale of what this means to people, underlines how well supported Arsenal have become, how strong a fan base they've built. So I think just seeing people there, seeing such a diverse crowd, whether that's age, gender, ethnicity, and it's just happiness, isn't it? It's just a nice day of euphoria.
I think that was what was so special as well. Is like I sometimes feel like now I go to the Emirates for like a smile. I'm like, oh, this is nice, isn't it? We're all here, everyone's supporting the Arsenal. Like, it's such a good turnout. Okay, another 45,000 on a match day at the Emirates. But then to get to see them lift the Champions League trophy in a bank holiday Monday, 10,000 people out to watch that moment and celebrate with them. I can't believe the impact that club, that team in particular, has had on the women's game.
Yeah, and there's a bit of swagger as well about it. It was maybe like 90%, this is all lovely and everyone's happy, and then 10% a little bit of, just a tiny bit of gloating at a certain club from West London, shall we say, which I enjoyed as well. Alex Scott, who was hosting the entire event, said, oh, some other clubs, not going to mention any names, but some other clubs have been trying for a while and haven't managed to win a Champions League. And I don't think you need to be Sherlock Holmes to work out who she was talking about there.
Who was she talking about?
Chelsea.
Get it on, I'm not that bad.
Sorry, I'm slightly sleep deprived of my sarcasm detectors. Not full strength.
You left it in Lisbon. No, listen, wonderful stuff. I know so many of you there yesterday and bumping into a number of people and along the way who watched the show and it just were like, told you. Apparently I said, if Arsenal win the Champions League, I'll shave my head or I'll get an undercut.
So when you go into the hairdressers?
So find the shears, Bo. I don't think I did say that. I think I said the league title, but someone will find the truth. If Arsenal go on to win the league title this season, I'll get an undercut. What is an undercut?
Shaved under here. You're committed to that. Let's shake.
Fine, I'll get an undercut. I don't care.
If Arsenal win, Arsenal, there's your motivation. Go out there and get Shebahn an undercut. And anyone that's got an undercut, no judging, but banter, if she's got one, that would be pretty bants.
Bet you I would pure
And I'll get my tits done.
You got to be careful. There's no kind of edited clips.
Well,
Make sure it's genuine.
use AI, edit all you want. I'm not doing it. But yeah, I mean, brilliant scenes. It's great for football. In the words of my daughter, it's good for women's football again. And I think having that moment and watching it all unfold and being on the journey, just wow. You just can't buy that happiness, Kit.
You can't. That's what sport can do. Sport at its best.
Speaking of which, the Sevens brought a lot of happiness, didn't it?
Yeah, it was really good. I was pleasantly surprised. There was probably 6 or 7 of us English media out there just kind of seeing what it was like in this fairly unassuming stadium in Estoril, which is just outside Lisbon. But inside it, you've got some of football's biggest teams and some of football's biggest stars playing. And for something that I think when we first heard about it, 7-a-side tournament at the end of the season, you think, blimey, that sounds quite gimmicky. It definitely was much better and much more serious than that. The players loved it. The football was really entertaining. And it's clearly not something that's going to go away. There's a lot of money invested in it. I'm not quite sure how they're going to make money, would be my one kind of caveat to it all.
Fine.
But they've got the fun element. They've got the players' personalities coming out, but then they've also got some serious backing behind it. It was really good.
Yeah, I mean, you were there, you got to kind of see it all, but from what I could tell from social media, which was just the TikTok creators and all the content kind of pouring into your feed, I was like, oh man, that looks so much fun. Man United team running in doing cartwheels, which, by the way, Man United, work on your cartwheels next time you're in a training session. They were shocking. Shocking cartwheels. Lucky you can play football. Sorry, Ken.
I can't do a cartwheel either, so I'm not going to...
I thought cartwheels would have been like, oh.
No comment.
No comment.
No comment from me.
I had like little bent legs, little bent arms, like T-Rex cartwheels. Sorry, guys, I love you anyway.
That just kind of captured the feel of the event. It was about fun. It was about entertainment. You had kind of the VIP cabanas, I guess, on one side of the ground, which just looked like something you don't normally see at football. You had the fancy players' lounge on one side. You had the party deck down the other side, which maybe could have been lived up to its name a little bit more, but I like 10 out of 10 for trying. And yeah, it was just a good, fun 3 days. And by the end of it, for the final, Bayern Munich against Man United, the atmosphere kind of cranked up. It was kind of 9 p.m. at night. And I felt like, wow, this is just really entertaining football and something that's feels like it's here to stay.
Yeah, that's great to hear. And even the players as well, enjoying the celebrations, enjoying the run-outs, thinking about that. Rusha, who works with us on the show, she would say that is what football should be. It's never going to be like that. It's so much more competitive, even though they were competing to win something and they were competing to win a prize and good money as well. But actually getting to see the players enjoy it when it is another tournament was important as well, because you're right to mention there was a lot of focus coming into this as the fixture congestion in the calendar. But it looks like they all had a ball.
Yeah, the number of players that said to us in the mix zone, I feel like a kid again, might have reached double figures. They just seem to have the best time, kind of interacting with other teams, playing a bit of small-sided football. They seem to love it all. And then there is also, again, not to labour the point, but the money is significant as well.
So how much did Man United come away with?
So they came away with just over $1 million
Great.
for coming, $1 million, that is, for coming second. If they'd won the tournament, the Bayern Munich got $2.5 million for winning a tournament. And that can't be sniffed at, that money. That's You get £350,000 winning the FA Cup. I think Arsenal, for the whole season, get just over £1 million winning the Champions League. So we're talking about unprecedented prize money in women's football. And that's why I say with so much certainty it's here to stay, because you don't invest that much money in something and make that big a financial commitment if it's just a flash in the pan.
Oh yeah, and money talks as well. Can only see that going one way. And that's the thing. And then Arsenal, I think, was it maybe Russo had done a press conference or potentially spoken to a member of the press saying that because of the Champions League, we wouldn't have been able to take part in it anyway, but you would expect to see more teams want to get involved in that next season.
I think if you're watching it from the outside, you're like, yeah, it looks like great fun. I'd love to get down there. I think we're a long way from a situation where a team saying, oh, we're going to prioritise that over traditional competition. But I think if schedules allow, teams would be straight over. Like we're expecting the next edition of the Sevens to be in North America over November, December, and that.
Oh, this year.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, and I suspect that'll be dominated, if not solely, teams from the Americas. So you'll have your NWSL, you'll have a Canadian team, Mexico, some from South America. However, if the schedule aligned and World Sevens wanted a Man United or an Arsenal or a Man City, I think the European teams would consider it. And
is it all down to your league position to be invited to this tournament, or could, like, I don't know, Spurs throw their hat in the ring?
Anyone could volunteer. It's outside kind of the jurisdiction of your FIFAs, UEFAs, your WSL football, as they're now called. It's kind of outside their parameters. So in theory, it's if you're invited, you can go and take part. It's obviously a lot more complicated than that when it comes to balancing your existing fixtures, but there's no kind of qualification per se. It's the organisers saying, we think you'd add something to the tournament, come along.
Ha! That sounds like great fun.
Yeah, I was going to say it's the future, which makes it sound like it's going to take over women's football. I don't think it's going to do that, but I think it's going to become an increasingly prominent part of the calendar.
Speaking of the calendar, shall we focus on the Nations League? The upcoming games for the Lionesses. They've got Portugal on Friday the 30th, and then they've got Spain on Tuesday the 3rd. This is the perfect build-up now towards the Euros, right?
Yeah, and there's two tricky games. We know Spain's going to be good. They kind of need no extra billing, but Portugal gave England a really good game back in February down in Faro. So that was 1-1 that game. England have a point to prove against them, having kind of not played their best in that game. And they also have a point to prove from their most recent game, which was a pretty demoralising 3-2 loss away to Belgium. So although we've kind of had the feel-good stuff of Arsenal, which includes a lot of Lionesses, Chelsea had a great end to the season, with England, there's still a few things to iron out before the tournament starts. Such as, I will expand, they need to get players as fit as possible, first of all. We've had Lauren Hemp, Alex Greenwood and Georgia Stanway come back into the squad, which is great, but we've just had Lauren James and Millie Bright drop out. So there's still a kind of question mark over how full strength England can get. And they need to find more consistency. To go back to those games against Belgium at the start of April, they won 5-0 in Bristol, looked like $1 million, were passing it around Belgium unbelievably. And then 4 days later, we're in Leuven and they're 3-0 down after half an hour. And it's like, this is just confounding. They need to become more consistent. They need to work out a way to compensate for their general lack of pace defensively. When they have been caught out, it has been from balls over the top and being caught too high. And they need to tentatively plan for Euros when someone like Lauren James might not be there, because you can't guarantee you can have a fully fit squad.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't thought about it in the detail then that you have. You're right about the fitness completely of players. We know that the best England side does feature Alex Greenwood, who I sometimes feel can be underestimated or undervalued maybe sometimes by England at times. But Lauren Hemp is, she's so good. You need Lauren Hemp available. But then I look at the youngsters, say, Kit, we've not seen a good account for a number of them yet. Who could be potential game changers for the Euros this summer?
The one that stands out is Michelle Agyeman, because in that game against Belgium, which England lost, she came on. They talk about Arsenal, scarcely believable. Michelle Agyeman's debut was also scarcely believable when she came on and not only scored with her first touch, but scored an absolute worldie.
Blinder.
So she's a fascinating wild card. For me, I'm not particularly bothered about what she does in these next 2 games. I think she has to go to the Euros, just as a player who, if England are 1-0 down in a quarter-final, you throw on with 20 minutes to go and say, try and do what you did against Belgium. We're just going to get the ball to you and create a moment of magic. Because I think, apart from maybe Lauren James, I'm not sure there's another player in the England squad that could have scored the goal that Agyeman did in Belgium, and that's an amazing thing to say about a 19-year-old.
Yeah, I mean, she's special talent, and it's players like that you want to see get the experience and want to see come on with that bravery before they get too taken over by the England FA way, you know, where you have to, in a way, sometimes conform to type, you know, you have to be a certain kind of player. You want to see that creativity, you want to see that kind of maverick in a player be able to come on and go, I'm going to take my chance here. And she did that so well. You know, I would hate to see her lose that confidence over time. If she can get another opportunity pretty soon, you know, she could be something for Sarina Wiegman really to consider.
Yeah, and she's just something different. She's a different option. We know that Russo's going to start up front, and she absolutely should. She's been one of the best players in the country this season. But behind her, like, obviously, God forbid if she gets injured or if she just needs to come off, England's options haven't been super widespread. You've got Aggie Beaver-Jones, but she's been playing more on the wing. Nikita Paris has kind of been hit and miss since coming back in the England squad. So there's a gap there for kind of your backup striker. And again, I'd go for Agyeman just because of that potential for a moment of magic.
I think a lot of people would agree that would be something fascinating to see. You can let us know your thoughts on that in the comments on Michelle Agyeman. I think we're all absolutely taken away by her. Also, too, just let me ask you then, Kit, if England do well in this international break and say they beat Spain, are they your favourites for the Euros?
Oh, how well do they beat Spain and Portugal? If they nick a 1-0 win against Portugal and a 1-0 win against Spain, I'd still just have Spain as favourites. If they win more convincingly, then I'd say they're hitting form at just the right time. But they're absolutely one of 5 or 6 teams that can win it.
That's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, right now I'd still have Spain as the team to beat, just because I think their ceiling's a little bit higher. But England are absolutely in the mix. They're defending champions, so of course they would be.
Yeah, well, that exactly. The fact that one of those potential winners of the tournament who you talk about might not get out of the group is
It's going to be the case in England's group. England, France and Netherlands. At least one of them's going home. I mean,
no disrespect, Wales. Yeah. We absolutely love that you're there. Fair play to Wales.
I wouldn't be surprised if Wales sprung a surprise in that group either.
Stop. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think they played well against Ireland. They showed us what they could do. Sometimes not having any major tournament experience can work for you. Kit Shepard from The Times, thank you so much for being with us today, and we'll catch all your work again in The Times soon.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. Now, time for a dad on a mission. Connor Stanbridge launched his brand FootballHer when he became frustrated by search for football kit for his young daughter during the 2022 Women's Euros. Connor is with us now. Hello, congratulations on FootballHer.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Am I saying it right? FootballHer?
Yeah, FootballHer. Yeah.
FootballHer?
Yeah, FootballHer.
FootballHer.
Just like footballer with a H.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Kind of like sounds like where I'm from. Glasgow's come right in. FootballHer. It's great. I mean, good for you going out and doing this. Tell us then about the search for kits that frustrated you.
It was a complete accident, really. So back in 2022, during the Women's Euros, I got really into the Euros. And my daughter was young at the time, but like any dad, you're like, oh, let's get my kids into football if you like football yourself. So I was on Oxford Street with my partner, just having a day to ourselves. You know what it's like? You have a day to yourselves, but you end up looking for stuff for your kids.
Just talk about the kids.
All the
Show
time.
each other pictures of the kids.
Yeah. It was literally that. And then I said, we was on Oxford Street. I said, let's quickly go into one of the big retailers I'm going to try and find some football clothing for my little daughter. I was used to just walking into a shop and just buying whatever. I come from a gym background, so buying whatever I needed in the gym, t-shirt, top, shorts, anything like that. So I said, let me just go in there. I went in there, I said to the guy, do you know where the women's football section is? And he goes, it's over there. I said, I've looked over there, it's just the guy stuff. He said, no, it's over there. And I just looked at it, it's just unisex. It wasn't girls, it's just a guy's top with a unisex tag on it. I said, fine, we're on Oxford Street. Like, I'm bound to find a shop if there's anywhere in the UK on Oxford Street. I zigzagged in and out of every single major retailer and I couldn't find anything. Every single shop I went into, where's the women's football section? They're like, we don't have one. It's just the football section. It's like, and then that's when I first encountered the problem of how hard it is to find women's football stuff.
Yeah, I mean, there's such little available.
Yeah.
Even still, apart from when your design came on board. So what, you just went home and decided, or did you have a design background as well?
I do not have a design background at all. I left it actually a year because my daughter was still young and I was like, right, let me see if she's actually going to get into football and stuff like that. Yeah. And she did start getting into football, playing, watching and stuff like that. So I said, right, let me look online now. Still not really much was being done, a little bit here and there. And then I thought, I can't have her growing up and not having access. It's such a simple fix. Not having access to properly fitted football gear, stuff that perform well, look good. So I just said, I'm going to start it and I'm going to see where it goes.
Fair play. And how is it going?
Unbelievable. To start off with, I didn't have any plan, no marketing budget, literally nothing.
Okay.
So I thought the easiest way to do it and see if there was a demand and see if people are having the same problem was to pick up my phone and talk to social media. So I started on TikTok. I picked up the phone and said, look, this is the problem I've just encountered. Yeah. Is anyone else having the same problem? And then it was a couple of weeks into the social media that I thought, right, this is a real problem. Like the first month, 10,000 followers. By month 3, 20,000 followers. Like it was incredible. Ooh. So all my stuff, I document the whole journey from the ground up on TikTok. And yeah, people are thousands of comments saying, I've had the same problem. I had the same problem when I was younger, still it's not really been fixed. Now my daughter's playing. So yeah, it's just. And
then you went to what? Manufacturers or brands? Like how do you get the ball rolling then?
Yeah, so I wanted, if I do anything, I want to do it properly. So I said, I'm not going to buy an off-the-shelf t-shirt and just whack a load. It doesn't mean anything. Like the problem is, it doesn't fit well, didn't really look that stylish. And what we say is everything looks football. Yeah. We want to bring fashion into football. So we started completely from scratch. So I said, I don't have a design background. I've got to find someone to help me. Brought on an incredible designer and said, can you help me do this? Then we started sourcing factories, sourcing fabrics, doing tech packs, and then literally designing product from a blank page into what it is.
And where can we get these products? Where can people?
So we just sell just on our website, www.footballher.co.uk. The reason why I started was I wanted to create amazing on-field products because that's what I couldn't find. Since the growth of the brand, I started releasing some off-field stuff, so like jumpers, t-shirts, just because people wanted to support and wear the brand.
Brilliant.
And I thought the world doesn't need another t-shirt or a jumper, but what it does, there's two sides of the business now. So the on-field is making every woman and girl confident on the pitch by creating an amazing product, but off the field, I thought our name speaks for itself. If you see it on the back of a jumper or a hoodie, if it's even one person in a coffee shop that's like, FootballHer, that's obviously women's football. Yeah. Let me go and have a little look into it or watch a game. So it actually, for us, that side promotes women's football as well. So we're kind of, we're doing two things now.
I mean, I saw the young guest you brought in with you today,
yes, yeah.
Amelia.
Yes.
Yeah, and the brand is lovely. Like it's a nice look, it's stylish, and that's the thing. If you can get youngsters to go, oh, that's cool, before you know it, every youngster and their pet dog has the same t-shirt
100%.
on. Like you will reach the right audience kind of thing if the product is brilliant.
I always say we could do everything. We could do PR, marketing. If the product's not good, it's not going to sell.
Yes.
And we're coming from the stance of very timeless, simple, sleek, clean, minimalistic. And like you said, if once it catches on, like we released the hoodies because we don't have a timeline of when we're going to release products, because when you start a business like this, you realise how many delays, factories and that cause. So we said, we'll just release it as it comes so people can start wearing the stuff. We released our first hoodies, they sold out. Released another batch, they sold out. So yeah, now we're gearing up for the actual reason why we started the brand, which is the training collection. Brilliant,
and hopefully we're going to see a lot more of that very soon. And that's the thing, like Rusha sits here often and complains about kit, kind of thing. She's like, it's guys' kits. It's not particularly designed for women. The shorts are designed for men. You know, 9 times out of 10, she has said that. I'm pretty sure I'm not going to cause her an issue here by saying that she said that. She has in the past. And you see now she does it all the time, where she rolls up the shorts because she's like, I want to be able to feel like I'm breathing, but then you wouldn't really see men wear those shorts 100%. As well. So it's like, it's a whole thing. But just having your own, like as a girl or a youngster going into an area and go, that's the kind of design I want, that a bit more fitted and a bit more, I don't know, comfortable for girls. Like there's nothing wrong with that.
I think design is subjective, isn't it? So it's like everyone's going to want different things. Long shorts, short shorts, baggy t-shirts, tight fitting t-shirts. But what we just want to have is them to feel recognised and included and actually go into a shop and look for a women's football section and it be there. So it's just like, it's not walking in and not finding anything and having to walk out. Like, and I didn't want for my daughter to go in there and felt the way I felt. So I was like, let me try and do something. Try and do something about it.
I mean, it's the same as the boots as well, Connor. Like, you know, it's only Ida Sports now who are creating the first female boot. I mean, that's crazy. You know, it's mostly, I mean, unisex is a complete thing in its own. That's absolutely fine. But you do go into an area, you do go into these shops and it's like men's sports section, football, tops, everything like that. And then girls, it's like pink shorts, pink top. Do you know what I mean? It's not the same. Football is for everyone.
100%. And also football's like the biggest sport, or one of the biggest sports. But in running, in gym, there's so much innovation that's been happening in terms of fabric, style, fit, that it just hasn't translated into football.
Strange,
and
right?
We're always questioning ourselves in the office, like, why is this?
Good for you. Keep going strong. I'm going to jump onto the website, have a little mooch around, and let's see where you're at in another few months' time after the next Euro. So good luck to you, Connor, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having me.
All the best. Take care of yourself. Connor Stanbridge there from FootballHer. You can check out all of their products on their website.